Woo! Om. Om. Welcome to Psychic Frank's Mystery School. Yeah, this is from the Celestial Influence Calendar. And I don't know, maybe because I was born under Scorpio, I think this is the best image of the three stages of core Scorpio. You know, the Scorpio, the gray lizard. They don't have the gray lizard thing, but then they have the phoenix, the eagle. The ashes are always Yeah, Scorpios have the ability to reinvent themselves whenever they have to. You know, what did Cary Grant said? I lent my best friend $1,000 to get a facelift. He never paid me back, and now I don't know what he looks like. Well, you got to do it with a Cary Grant accent, which I don't have, but it's a funny one. That's my sense of humor. Yeah, I have a Venus Libra, so I'm very. That's a cosmic joke. I'm a Scorpio. I was born bad, but yet I have this well, you can't say Disney anymore. Disney's so corrupt. Everything's violent. Okay, we got the new moon coming up. Yeah, I only do one live show this month because I'm here the second and the fourth Thursday of every month on Thursdays at 5, like right here on channel 76, in which you can call in. No swearing on the air. Great. Yeah, I know 13-year-olds live on, just recently a young girl in my neighborhood whose father has a show on here. And I realized, a lot of, we don't have to swear. Just because we have such a, I think we've used the swear words as punctuation marks. And that's not good. We should, we don't need to do that. So that's a good thing. I see the sign right in front of me. And we are recording. So yeah, and this will be on YouTube Fridays, and you guys can see it on Saturday on channel 29. But then because the second Thursday of the month is Thanksgiving, the 23rd. So perhaps I'll come in on the 20th or the 21st and Sun enter Sag on the 21st, early in the morning. So that would be a good thing to do. Oh no, Sun enter Sag 10:05 p.m. So I'd be doing my show in the very end of Scorpio. Ooh, that would be fun. Yeah, that would be good if I get to do a show on Tuesday. If not, they'll rerun my old stuff. So, okay. Got that out of the way. Yeah, watch Denise Dory. She's on the the first and the third Thursdays at 6 on channel 76 here. Liberal Buzz. And then there's Richard Rance. He's on the second and the fourth Thursdays. I could go through, so much, but go to SFC TV and then check the schedule. As Comcast, this is like the 8th year now since they stopped tagging our shows, but we're not going there now. Yes, so things couldn't be more intense. And I have the Mountain Astrologer in front of me, Self-Discovery. This is the October-November issue. So the January issue should be coming very soon. I get them, if you subscribe to them, they come 6 of them every 2 months. And I'm so happy that Emily Trinkus, I'm sad we lost some good people. So many of their good people passed away over the last couple of years. Just recently, Donna Cunningham, bless her soul, only in her 70s. I'm going to be 69 soon, so 70s doesn't look too cool. Yeah. At the new moon, she says, is the darkest time of the month. The sun and moon precisely aligned, and the moon is subsumed in the light sun. These kids are screaming out here. I wish they would stop it. Yeah, these walls are very thin. It's even though this is the sound room, the flash studio, I get distracted. Yeah, so this is the this new moon in Scorpio coming up on the Saturday. This Saturday's the 11th, so it's going to be this Saturday, the Saturday after this, the 18th. And here in California, that's going to be at 3:42 a.m. Pacific time, early Saturday morning. The sun and moon will be 26 degrees Scorpio. This is the new moon of Scorpio. The spiritual paradigm is water. Yeah, the modality is fixed water, as we're dealing with very, very deep emotional energy, and it's got to be channeled in the right way. You know, the reason I'm touching my hair so much, I got to get this out of the way. You know, my guides to keep me humble. I was all ready to leave the house, my apartment today, and then I had like a 40 minutes to, you know, fool around. And then I realized, oh, I'll fix that squeaky thing, that wheel that squeaks, and I got some WD-40. And because my vision is getting a little weird because I'm older, and I lined the WD, you know, it gets rid of squeaks on the where I wanted it to go, and then I gave it a good squish, and it sprayed out all over my hair. So my hair has got WD-40 all over it. So it's not that I forgot to wash my hair. I just I got the WD-40 look. I'm starting a new trend. But I think, you know, don't take yourself seriously. You know, don't sweat the small stuff, and don't forget it's all small stuff. Yeah, so we're going to talk about this. Yeah, it was a year ago today we woke up. Yeah, it was the 9th of November, exactly 1 year ago today. We woke up to the news that, you know, the Trump regime had, the coup had happened, the Russian operatives had been successful, and we were stuck with Donald Trump. I keep on saying ex-con, you know, because he's a convict. He's a convict that hasn't been convicted yet. Yeah, I was gonna, you know, as I was leaving the house this afternoon, I was listening to Benny King on "Your Love Is a Supernatural Thing," and I said, "Wow, that's true. That's a good song. Your love is a supernatural thing." That is so true. Thank you, Benny King. Rest in peace. But really, remember that. Remember that. If you're watching this show right now, just take a minute and digest that. That is such a powerful, because it's so true. I mean, you could climb the Himalayas and find a cave with the wisest man on the planet, and you walk in there and you'd say, what's the secret? And he'd say, your love is a supernatural thing. And that's the truth. It's so simple. Everybody likes it complicated, you know. It's not complicated. If you really, really love God, you'd never be fearful. You know, there's a great book by Braden I found, Greg Braden, and he on prayer, the lost art of prayer. And it's not so much the words you say, but it's the feeling of love in the words. You know. And I thought that was beautiful. Then he said everybody has their own particular way of like logging on, you know, like Sufis, Catholics, Jews, Hebrews, you know. And that's like logging onto your own computer. You know, you have your own little code that gets you on. And I thought, wow, yeah, you know, I like that. That's a beautiful thing. We all have our unique little, you know, tune-in thing, you know. As long as you surround yourself with Mother, Father, God, one mind. And because I was baptized Roman Catholic, I bless myself, even though I don't consider myself to be a church-going. Many 11 life paths are very, very spiritual, but religious, not so much. I'm religious about my diet, about, you know, which I believe is your spirituality. So let's get back to what's going on. Yeah, the spiritual paradigm that flows through Scorpio is the learning that when you release control, you actually have more control. Woo! I'll be 69 in a few days, so yeah, that's the, I figured that one out when I was, thank God I had this recovery thing. Yeah, please don't use WD-40 in your hair. I was just joking. People, I say things sort of what I think is funny, and then I realize I get emails and people take me really literally. No, that was a mistake. And thank God when I go home tonight, I'll wash it out. But I only made it worse. I got to let it go and do this thing. It's the universe way of saying get over yourself, Frank. A water sign should soak in hot herbal tub. Yeah. Oh, it's at City Hall. I'm part of Access of Love, and we've been at City Hall this week trying to getting at the table so we get some. Because they're throwing, the big companies are throwing medical marijuana people, and we're at Access of Love, we're a advocacy, and so we've been at City Hall, making ourselves known that we want to be at the table, and someone mentioned that we should be known as herbalists. It was the first Chinese healing herb, but I guess after the opium thing in the 1800s there, and then in the 30s when it became outlawed, the Chinese remembered that, and now if you go to a legitimate Chinese, they'll give you a questionnaire to fill out, and if you're honest and say you smoke cannabis, they'll give you tea that smells like a dirty sock to drink. So they're just I believe like Mishu Kushi's macrobiotic philosophy. I believe I'm going to do a show all about Mishu Kushi there. And actually, if we've got some time and no one calls, we're going to do a whole little 10-minute on healing, because I know a lot of people in their 20s who haven't even had their first Saturn return, aspire to be spiritual psychic healers, because they know they've got the gift. But, like any gift, it's got to be honed in. I have some, reservations with, young people whose hearts are just so beautiful, and they say, I'm a Reiki master. How old are you? And they'll say 23. It's such a tender age. How could you master anything? I couldn't even walk straight at 23. Well, I was a junkie, but that's another story. Yeah, I've got a colorful past. There's nothing wrong with having a colorful past. I believe the first 29 years of your life, let the good time roll, and then you have something to transcend. I obviously, being the Scorpio I am, and this I wouldn't be the healer but anyway, this was my own path. Everybody's got their own path. To be one of the chosen, simply choose yourself. Just look in the mirror and go, you the man, you the woman, you the child. Give yourself lots of kiss. I was thinking on the way over here, Ray Charles, I'm going to love you like nobody's loved you, come rain or come shine. That's a prayer. That's a prayer right there. That's my prayer to God. Come rain or, no matter what happens, my love for God is, because I guess it's because I've been dead and came back. Most people who have been watching my show know in '82 I had this totally out-of-body experience and came back who I am today. So I know not many people had that wonderful experience, but they never let you come back just normal. They always put this little slither of something in your heart chakra that makes you do some weird things. Gives you, not weird things, but gives you this weird talent that, like, what I do. So we're going to talk about this healing book, because we've got plenty of time. We just started here. So at this new moons are always time to reset our intentions and goals. Our moons are our emotions. Sun and Moon in Scorpio. This is the time now that's dark. Well, this right now, the darkest night of the soul was Tuesday. the 15th, the sun and moon were 15, the sun was 15 degrees Scorpio, and Emily Trinkus calls this the, it's got a name, Samhain, reaches the 15-degree Scorpio. This gate of power at the heart of the Scorpio period reminds us, that we are here on Earth temporarily, yada, yada, yada. The veil between worlds is thin, and we can honor our ancestors. I'm still feeling that. I mean, so many souls, well, being a healer, especially during the AIDS epidemic in the early 80s, many guys and women have come by to say thank you for helping me make the transition. So they don't stay long, but they just pop into my people I've totally, not, I guess forgotten about, because, they're gone. And they remind me they're okay, they're continuing their journey through eternity. So, so this is, so when I went to bed on Tuesday night, it was election day in Virginia, and they were counting up all the totals of the Virginia and all the key, and I said, as I was, releasing the day and getting ready to go into the school of the night in the dream state, AKA the dream state, I said to myself, well, this will tell the tale. If tomorrow morning I wake up and put on MSNBC, I'll know if we're doomed or not. Tomorrow will tell the results. We'll know tomorrow. Tomorrow will tell the tale. Tune in tomorrow. Search for democracy. Will Donald Trump come out as a Nazi, Russian money launderess? It goes on and on and on. Yeah, the whole lot of them now are way, they are the swamp. He's actually brought the whole swampers out. And now Mueller, oh yeah, I got Mueller's chart here. We're going to talk about that. So we got to focus this energy, this intense, everything's got to be intense now. See, because Venus and Jupiter are also in early Scorpio. You might want to listen. See, I'm not really an astrologer. I'm a psychic who uses astrology and numerology because help my time frames. Because many psychics have time frames, but they could be like years apart. And over the years, and I was taught this way from my teachers, that what you do is astrology. You become an adept astrologer. But that would be too boring for me. That would be too boring for me. So the urge to control. See, Scorpio is about the urge to control, because that makes them feel safe. But then you reach a sage time in your life where you understand in a eureka moment. Wow! By letting go and letting God. People in recovery know that term, because it's the way. Once you just get out of the way and let life happen, you show up, and then especially now with Uranus still doing this thing with Pluto, Uranus is all about, you want to make God laugh, tell all your plans, So when you wake up in the morning, make yourself very, very teachable and put all this energy, this water energy, to good use. If you're a Scorpio, have Venus in Scorpio, Scorpio rising, any planets in Scorpio, or whatever. Everybody's got Scorpio in their chart somewhere. Take a hot bath. Put some herbs. That's when I talked about herbs, is what reminded me of why isn't cannabis being packaged as herbal, as like herbalists? Like as I said, you go to Chinatown and they give you all this stuff that you boil up and they make you drink it to get you to stop smoking cannabis. I don't want to stop smoking cannabis, and they convince you, oh yeah, that's why you got whatever condition you went there for. Excuse me. Oh yeah, people don't like when I cough. So if I do have to cough, I'll make sure this friend of mine said, wow, when you cough, my ears go nuts. So, with the big microphones are gone, which gives us more table room. So let's get back to Emily Trinkus, my friend Emily Trinkus. I feel like I know her because I've been reading her since I started this show. And And actually, Kathy Rose, KathyRose, she has an article in this issue, but not as many articles. But she does have an Astrology 4-minute, which is, she's my favorite out of all these astrologers on YouTube. Kathy Rose, and then November / 2017. And yeah, she's right on. So at this new moon, the darkest time of the month, the sun and moon precisely in line, and the moon is subsumed. Yeah, it's the closest it's going to be. Yeah, whether you're aware of that or not. That is a few days in our past. Oh no, this is coming up, the new moon on the 18th. Yeah. The point isn't to depress us, but to inspire us to live passionately with gratitude and appreciation. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. I was reading Toll the other day and randomly just picked it up, and I got this paragraph he says about, and that reminded me, you know, my adopted parents were superstitious Italians, and if you caught you laughing, they say, "Oh, now you're gonna cry." You know, they couldn't enjoy anything. You know, they didn't live too long. Wherever they are, I'm sure they're happy. They got their death wish, but that's another story. So, you know, but you know, when the good thing, but bad things happen, like we're going through this paradigm change. So Donald Trump and see, all during the Trump administration, the Obama administration for 8 years, I wasn't fooled for 1 second, but everybody on the talking heads on all the stations on TV and in the media were talking about how, excuse me, racism in America is gone. It never existed because how could we have Obama as president? And now we know they're out. You know, there's a third, there's a chunk, a nice. It's not a quarter. It's actually less than a quarter, but they're out now. They're proud of it. They wear this. They did this. The OK side now means the W. What's it called? White power. You know, you see. I think they're more conscious of it now since it's gotten viral. But yeah, yeah, they're out. They're all white supremacists. They're all. Banks in Ceylon, money launderers, and yeah, so I don't know why they make all this clever conversation. It gets very simple. Let's get rid of Citizens United. It should be Citizens United. They give it these cutesy little names. They're just like the word kill citizens. United, we will kill democracy would be a better name for it. And now, like, what's happening now is what's coming to the up to be healed is they're finally realizing that Ronald Reagan, his sadistic experiment, sadistic joke of an experiment called trickle-down economics, has. They're calling it now trickle-down healthcare. This tax thing is trickle-down. You know, they still think we're going to fall for it. It's been 35 years since Ronald Reagan's trickle-down economics, and we know exactly that nothing trickles down. Nothing trickles down. These CEOs have their fingers in the sieve, and nothing gets trickled through because they're making like obscene salaries. I mean, golden, even when they get out of there, it's like more money than third world countries will ever see, you know? Yeah, and so it's not that there's it's not the lack of money, it's the distributing of it now. So eventually they will figure this out. They will figure this out, and I think it's going to be sooner than later. Because it's like really, the truth is coming out now from everywhere. And as I said, when I woke up Wednesday morning and I turned on the news and I saw, I was very happy. I did a little dance. I was like, oh. It was like, 5 in the morning, and it was, so I couldn't, and I live in an apartment, so I couldn't really disturb my neighbors, but I was like, oh, happy, happy. Yeah, my parrot loves that happy, the song Happy. Yeah, my parrot loves Motown, but she likes happy. So as we get to this darkness of the Scorpio new moon, we renew our commitment to life. As a water sign, Scorpio lives in the feeling realm. Yeah, log on. The Scorpio new moon power of regeneration can direct to any area where we feel stuck or stagnant in your finances. Remember, you're constantly making affirmations, whether you're thinking them or you're saying them, and you want to keep them in two tenses: I am and I have. Just because I teach this doesn't mean I could do it. I always find myself saying, I gotta do that. No, I'm doing it. You know, right here, right now. Yeah, as I said a lot on a lot of my shows, souls really aren't comfortable in the present. They like the past or the future. And if you're going to project in the future, you got to have a schooled imagination. Like Dr. Bernie Siegel says, those who don't heal simply don't have the imagination it takes. It takes a schooled imagination. You know, this seems to go right along with this healing book I found at the library. It's from '89, and I picked it up. It's $1 at the Polk Street side on Wednesdays. I guess they're winding them down now, but they'll start again in the spring. They don't do them. We're getting our rainy seasons back. I like that. Yeah, and it's got Norman Cousins, Ram Dass, Larry Dossey. I love Larry Dossey, Shanti Garwin. All these amazing people, Steve Levine, Rollo May, Richard Moss, and being so many people aspire to be a spiritual healer. And back around the early 80s, during the AIDS epidemic, when I found Louise Hay and studied with her, I was doing my healing thing on many souls. And I realized what this guy wrote down. His name is John E. Upledger, and it's I underlined in yellow, so it shouldn't take that long to just highlight the stuff. He says, before discussing self-discovery and self-healing, however, we need to examine the meanings of the term healing and curing. It's all in the wording. First there was the word. The distinction between the two defines a developing polarity, and this was in '89, and trust me, it's gotten, with the pharmaceutical companies, gone outrageously, I think criminal, the way they pollute minds with these negative, false facts about, well, they leave out, I don't know if they're all false, but they're blown out of proportion. And they totally leave out that our bodies are healing manufacturing. Well, we're going to talk about that. Yeah, actually it's in a few pages here. But it says, the distinction between the two defines the developing polarity in the thinking of healthcare professionals. The two worlds share essentially the same definition in dictionaries, both referring to a method or course of remedial treatment that aims to restore health. Yet this official definition does not capture the implications of the two words have taken in today's world of healthcare. These guys are prophets, It's just patients as needing to heal themselves after disease has been cured. Yeah, that's the thing. So we frequently seek of patients as needing to heal themselves after the disease has been cured. Surgical, well, stick with me now because this gets really good. Surgical removal of the gallbladder, for instance, may cure gallbladder disease, but the patient must then heal the wound and adapt to the absence of that organ in order to achieve adequate function in the digestive system. I would suggest I digest life's lessons peacefully and lovingly. My body adjusts, doesn't take life's lessons personally. Hurts will really make you sick. Gotta let those things roll off your back like water off a duck's back. The reason we need to clarify the difference between healing and curing is quite simple. Effective therapy, whatever its outer form, infantile, initiates, facilitates, and supports the patient's self-healing efforts, whereas curing process is one that provides a more temporary and perhaps only a little bit of a cure. Although curing may remove the symptoms of the disease from the outside, so to speak, it usually leaves the underlying cause of the symptom untouched. For example, a physician might cure hemorrhoids by surgically removing them. However, if the hemorrhoids are secondary to a congested liver that is due to chronic drinking, the problem will not be healed, quote unquote, until a patient resolves the underlying reason for the alcohol abuse. See, this is what they, this doctor, God bless him, I don't think he's with us anymore. And this is the doctor you want, this is the guy you want, not some it's not some pill pusher. In this case, it might be better for the surgeon to leave the hemorrhoids intact as a reminder and perhaps motivating force that will help focus the patient's attention on the alcohol abuse. I love this. In this way, the real cause of the problem may one day be eradicated. A friend and general surgeon with more than 30 years' experience once confided in me. In retrospect, he felt the majority of surgical procedures he had performed might be classified as exorcisms of the vocal apparatus, quote unquote, of the inner cells of his patients. So when you remove the gallbladder, you're removing the vocal or the hemorrhoids, the bleeding hemorrhoids. Says, well, bleeding is joy. Anytime you're bleeding, joy. Where are you going, joy? I cut my hand the other day and a little bit on the window, because I try to rush. See, try. I just said try. Okay, of the inner self. He meant that by removing certain organs or tissues, he was eliminating the bodily voices that were attempting to communicate the presence of deeper emotional or spiritual problems in need of attention. Thus, to refer again to our previous example of an alcohol abusing hemorrhoid patient, we must consider that although removal of hemorrhoids might temporarily alleviate some of the symptoms, it also removes one avenue by which the inner self is attempting to focus attention on the alcohol problem. If the hemorrhoids are removed and the alcohol abuse continues, the inner self has no choice but to select another organ to use as an attention getter. The next target organ might be the gallbladder. The next step will be for the surgeon to remove the gallbladder, which will be in full of gallstones. Certainly the surgeon feels justified in performing both surgeries, yet no attempt has been made to determine whether the patient's inner self is trying to relay some inner message to the conscious mind. So we now have a heavily drinking patient without hemorrhoids or gallbladder who still has little or no idea why he or she is abusing alcohol. Denial is not a river in Egypt. Perhaps the drinking is a means of escape from guilt, feelings of instilled during childhood by a parent, all kinds of stuff, I know a lot of people my age were screwed by their brothers and sisters out of their inheritance. We have a greed, the boomers, the Leo baby boomers, the me generation. And I know a woman to this day is drinking herself. She's my age, and it's amazing she's still alive, and she still hits the sauce, because, people need a reason to, they don't want to, like people say, well, I could take it or leave it. No, you can't. Leave it. Okay, let's see you do it. Show me, So, the next target organ, so I think becoming aware of this inner voice, that is, see, I'm dealing with, they told me there's a cataracts in my left eye, and the ones there is growing, and they want to remove it with a laser, which sounds pretty. So in the meantime, they've given me 6 months in which I'm going to use that time to keep on affirming, I create a world I love to see. I create a world I love to look at. 500 times I'll be saying that over and over again. That's probably why I picked up the can of WD-40 and had it sprayed, because it's the cataract, But otherwise, at 60, 69, I think I'm holding up rather well. I plan on being here till at least 120. I wouldn't want to stay past 120. But I'll be rocking it until 120. Cannabis makes you, it's the perfect medicine. My 50th high school reunion showed up, and 2 days after a day after the reunion, two friends from high school I really was fond of who totally were condescending and looked down at me from my open, being an advocate of cannabis since I was 13. uh, One died and one is very, very ill, a man and a woman, and it's and I really wish people would realize they've been sold a false facts, by the pharmaceutical companies. Richard Nixon, the other day at City Hall, they were talking about cannabis and they want to do some more studies. One of Nixon's top aides who got out of prison would hold him in. One of those guys, John Dean. One of them was on one of the shows, Rachel Maddow or somebody, and they were talking about how he was in the room when the guy brought in, one of the stewards interns brought in the results, and Nixon said, "Oh yeah, this is the results on cannabis." He had commissioned this amazing, expensive study by the greatest medical minds in the country, and they say the story goes, as he was reading it, he turned red and he was like, "Capricorns are hard to love." Capricorns be hard to love. And all you Capricorn cats out there, cats and kitties, Capricorn, Saturn is going to go into Capricorn 4 days before this Christmas Eve. So we'll talk about that. That hasn't happened for 30 years. Yeah, so they said he didn't like what he read because they said, it's better than alcohol. It has all these potentials for all these healing qualities and yada, yada, yada. It's all about harm reduction is what we all know now, advocates of medical marijuana. It's all about harm reduction. And they say Nixon just tore it all up, and that's right from this aide who was right in the room, documented. I heard him say it with my own eyes. But at City Hall the other day, there's this big deal now is cannabis. According to them, they'd be only a few, the ones that exist now barely, because they don't want them now within so many feet of a playground for toddlers and whatever. And I live in Hayes Valley, and there's an open beer garden right across the street with no walls. And Ed Lee thinks that's perfectly fine because they're getting a huge rent from that. It's right in Hayes Valley there. And there's a toddler playground right across the street. And nobody has parents there. They think the kids don't see what's going on, the loud drinking. I'm sure there's underage drinking going on there. And then when those bars close, the party continues in that little park. They go on the kids' milky bars and drink. Alcohol is the great destructor. And you got the alcohol industry and the pharmaceutical industry now, and they're trying to put medical cannabis. If you smoke cannabis, you got no right using those other two substances. Alcohol is, because according to a social drinker, I think it's why bother. It's like their idea of a social drinker is maybe 2 cups. It's less than that. It's like a true I drank as long as I could and as hard as I could, and but I'm glad it came to an end. It came to an end in '82, and then in '86, Hep C was healed, and thanks to cannabis, I have no liver tumors. The liver tumors are all. And every liver specialist I've seen now told me, it's common knowledge now in the medical profession that cannabis will dissolve cancerous tumors. They go right into the cancerous cells, and there's all these videos on YouTube. Yeah, check it out, and like Bernie Siegel says, Dr. Bernie Siegel, bless his soul, read anything about him if you know anybody who needs some help dealing with cancer. Getting well isn't the only thing. It's getting in touch with your mortality. And it's funny, when you do that, you get better. You realize there's so many people that are afraid of dying, but they don't really want to live. You know, the first thing a healer, I believe, should, after like 40 years in the field, go up to people in the, you know, and do you want to be healed? And if they don't, you know, if they're honest, then you help them make the transition, you know. But many people, it's like, no, it's time to go. You know, they don't want to be healed. Or they want to be healed. I talked about this on another show. Well, I want to be healed, but not that much. You know, just, I don't know, I got a good thing going on with this, and this, you know, and I'll have to get, I don't want to be healed to get a job, you know. I don't want to get out of here to get a job, you know. If I start walking, you know, it's like the things I've heard, you know. And yeah, because so many people complain, but yet their happiness is a very inside job thing. You know, like it's up to you to deal with your. So I don't want to overload you there, but that's for your healers. And then I underlined this thing here about this. Like, you know, they say in Buddhism, it says, you know, you bodhisattvas, you want to treat humanity the way you want to be treated. Well, remind yourself when you want to buy the world a Coke. I just use that. I don't like Coca-Cola, but, you know, you want to buy the world a vegan sandwich. Remind yourself you're part of humanity and treat yourself as well as you can, and then you'll be better to, you know, be the light for other people. You know, because you can't like turn your apartment into a crash pad, but you can definitely empower people, you know, and get them to think about, you know, who's responsible for this, you know. You know, I don't believe victims heal. You know, well, we'll do another show on that. So it says here is there are 4 essential quantities. The healer: trust, faith, love, and humility. The healer must act as a channel. Yada, yada. Love is perhaps the most problematic of these requirements. Healers must understand that love does not only mean love for others, it also means love for oneself. We must be aware of our limitations and know when it's necessary to nurture ourselves. Yeah, no, you know, sometimes you know, it's not easy never easy to say no, but you know, you can't, you know, like years ago, they reconstructed my building and all these mice from, came up. I'm on the top floor and they had babies and I had to kill a lot of them. Many of them I picked up by the tail, put them in a cup, and put them outside in the lot. Did around 30 that way. But some had to die with, you know, traps. I had to set traps. And finally, after I don't know how many months, got the last one. I had to do that. You know, it was like them or me. But I believe that was symbolic of that. At the same time, a beloved aunt of mine was murdered, an auntie of mine, and I was robbed of my inheritance. So I think there was a lot of these mice look like the cousin, the 70-year-old woman who killed my aunt from senior abuse. She had that same little mouse face. I believe it. I'm just not making that up. Yeah, the veil between both worlds is very, very thin now. So by all means, even though it's not exact, it's a good time now to connect with as long as you surround yourself with don't, as I said, people who say prayer is just, if you love God, you'll never be fearful in your life. You know, because God's will for you is, even though it might be uncomfortable like what we're living through now, yeah, there's a lot of wildlife that are, all kinds of things are happening to Mother Earth now as we're speaking. But as I said, I believe, I wanted to talk about Mueller's chart. Okay, so before we get away from this this new moon coming up on November 18th at 3:42 a.m. So when you go to bed on Friday night the 17th, that's the Leonard's meteor shower happens on, and the moon will be in Scorpio. And then we have the moon goes into Sag at 1:59 p.m. on Saturday here in California. Actually, this calendar is East Coast time, so it's actually late. No, the action happens really late on the 17th. But it'll be late in the night here in California of Friday the 17th. So when you go into the schools and when you go to sleep at night, work with your guides. And new moons are forms equinox to Uranus at 25 Aries, reinforcing the themes of being shaken out of our comfort zone. Well, Donald Trump, no one could have shaken us out of our comfort zone better than the Donald. To renew our own vitality, to breathe life back into our relationships. Yeah, he just made us realize that racism is, and the whole bunch of them, that Sessions, that Jefferson Beauregard, Cracker, that's not a bad word. Yeah, we should not, sink to using foul language. That just we sink down to the. So this is a great book, and I'll be sharing more stuff. There's some Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, but as I said, I'd like to do like 10 minutes of every show because there's a lot of people who aspire to be healers and to know God better, just a closer walk with thee, just a closer walk with thee. And I think that's my favorite spiritual song of all of life is just a closer walk with me. So if you're feeling a little too emotionally out of control, soak your head. No, soak your body. So let's look at Robert Mueller now, where all this Scorpio energy is happening. On the new moon, Scorpio New Moon, the sun and moon will be 26 degrees Scorpio, 19 minutes. And 23 Scorpio is Mueller's second house. So we have this new moon forming a sweet aspect to his Venus in the career house. Yeah, let's pick some cards. I have my tarot cards now. I've said on many of my shows that are on YouTube right now that by Thanksgiving, because everybody's been saying, oh, it's going to take years, and I've heard it a zillion times. I'm exaggerating, but I heard it a lot of times that Watergate took so many years, but no, things are accelerated now. Things are totally accelerated now, and this whole thing the other day about Kelly and his son, and now it just couldn't be more intense. And the Cyprus banks and. As I say, we're talking about, millions and millions that third world countries don't have, So let's see. What do the guys want my viewers? Bless my loyal psychic Frank guys. And I love the honesty. I guess because, I'm in your house, you invite me into your cribs. I mean, what an honor is that? God bless cable access. Before you go to sleep at night, just say that. God bless democracy for the people. There's so much good television on channels 76 and 29 that most people don't even know these stations exist because they're in this like robot mode. They listen to only a few stations. When I tell people about cable access, they thank me. Oh yeah, I became. It's not. There's so much good talent. I get so excited because this is my family. I really bonded with everybody here at Bayvac and SF Commons, and so let's see. Because the way as I said when I went to bed Tuesday night, I said, well, tomorrow my guys told me we'll tell the tale. That wasn't my language. I don't talk that way. My guides talk that way. So I said, okay, tomorrow we'll tell the tale. So I was very pleased, and I celebrated with my parrot that tomorrow did tell the tale, and it's going to get even more intense as I said, as we approach Thanksgiving. And because Donald Trump's chart, and we all know now that Bernie Sanders, all his Bernie supporters know that it was true. Donald Trump's now, all this Scorpio energy now is falling in Donald's, 26 degrees in his fourth house of where he runs roughshod over people. Okay, Yes, I want to emphasize, I want to totally emphasize he's not a madman. He's evil. But, there's a lot of officially people suffering from whether it's hormonal or some chemical thing or brain disorder, but they are clinically, mentally unstable and mentally ill, mentally ill. And to get any help, a lot of these people with not families or finances find themselves on the street. Then they have to commit a felony to go into an institution to get some kind of institutionalized help, to get some kind of medication and help. And that's no way to treat our brothers and sisters of any color. They're human beings, As I said, the idea of what I said earlier about this whole trickle down thing, please they're not entitlements, they're earned benefits these people want us to know about. These, Pence is into it up to his eyeballs. It's been a big, this is, one who's making out the best here is Vladimir Putin. Yeah, this new moon happens right in his first house. His Venus, he's having his Venus return. Venus is in Scorpio now, so all you Scorpio dudes and dudettes, oh, we've only got 2 minutes. Venus, this is the time to buy that frock, get your nails done, spend some money on yourself, treat yourself, lots of kisses. And won't be back live until December 14th. But I will be taping a show and have a happy Thanksgiving. Say a prayer for all the turkeys that will be losing their lives ruthlessly with no compassion. They're not bright, but they're living things, and they've got a life, and they like their legs, and they're like their wings, and like babies, macrobiotics say babies should be drinking mother's milk or some vegetable assimilation of that. Only baby cows should be drinking cow's milk. Maybe that's why we got babies now that are growing up to be 500-pound men, because we should not. I don't believe dairy. Dairy's the answer. Don't mean to get preachy, but it's all about cruelty-free and violence. And listen to your inner guides. And I love you. I love you. And let it shine. Yeah. Be there. Realize God loves you, and love God. Be grateful for where we are now, because it's the healing crisis that's paradigm changes require. So let's not curse where we are, but bless and try not to understand it. Life's a mystery to be lived, not a problem to be solved. Beware of those that are constantly angry and looking for a fight. Run from them. The fight they're fighting is with themselves. Well, we can't run from this president because he's assumed. I believe he's an illegitimate president. I'll see you in December live, and have a good holiday. Namaste. Oh.